Today we are going to be making chocolate chip banana walnut muffins with cream cheese frosting. Say that 10 times fast. It is chocolatey, it's fruity, and it is delicious. And did I mention it was also easy? Well, now you know. So let's do this. For this recipe, you're going to be needing some very, very ripe bananas, 3 to be precise. So mash those well and add them to a bowl. Next up, you want to crack 2 eggs and give them a bit of a whisk. Now I find that the easiest way to work on this recipe is to prepare your dry ingredients in one bowl and your wet ingredients in another. So that is what we're working on right now, our wet ingredients bowl. So add your eggs to your mashed bananas, and next in we're going to be adding a 1/3 cup of full fat plain yogurt. Now for flavorings, we're adding in 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract, a little bit of a whisk to combine, and last but not least, our melted butter that has been melted and cooled before adding it to the bowl. So whisk everything well, and there you go. We are halfway done through this recipe already. Yep, I'm not kidding. So next up is our dry ingredients. So you're going to be adding your flour, your sugar. Now I use 2 types of brown sugar in this recipe, but feel free to use 1 type, that's perfectly fine. In with your salt, in with your baking soda, in with your spices, your cinnamon and your allspice. Now note that all of the ingredients with the quantities are on the website www.ameliadoesdinner.com, and you can find everything there as well as print off a copy of this recipe. Now the last thing was the nutmeg, and we're just combining everything well. You don't want to have any patches of spices and sugar all over the place. So now it's time to combine your wet and your dry. And I like to do this in 2 batches, giving everything a nice bit of a stir after each inclusion. Now the most important thing to remember here is stir everything well. There is nothing worse than having a clump of dry flour in your baked goods. So your batter is pretty much going to look like this in the end. And that is it. It is that simple. Now we just have to add in our chopped walnuts, which is 1 cup, and our chocolate chips. Now I'm using dark chocolate chips because I like dark chocolate chips, but feel free to use milk or semi-sweet, whatever you like in this recipe. And just fold everything in. And there you go, our batter is pretty much done. So in the meanwhile, what you want to do is you want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Line a cupcake tray with some cupcake liners. There is no oil, no butter, nothing in there. It's just liners in the tray. And I find it easiest to use a ladle, scoop out some of the batter and just drop it in there. It's okay if you make a little bit of a mess, just use a wet paper towel and clean that up. So pop those into the oven, bake them off, and when they're ready, they are going to look like this. And I wish that you could smell how amazing these smell right now. And they are just so gorgeous. You can eat them right now, but of course we're not going to do that. We're going to go extra. And by extra, I mean cream cheese frosting, because that's how we roll. So cream cheese frosting is so easy. You're literally combining softened butter. So I just like to do everything with a whisk and by hand. You can certainly do this with a mixer, but there is no need. And then you're just adding in your softened cream cheese. So just break that up in your bowl. Again, feel free to use a mixer, but I mean, it's just whisking and a little bit of hand power. So it's a great thing to get everyone involved in the kitchen if your hands start feeling that they're going to fall off. Now the mixture usually starts off being pretty tight, but as you whisk and as you go, it softens up, it gets a bit more fluffy, and then you're left with this. Now all we have to do is add a pinch of salt for balance, our flavoring agent, which is our vanilla extract, and our powdered sugar. Now I always tell everybody, beware of powdered sugar. When you're plopping that in there, there is powdered sugar dust everywhere, but we don't mind that now, do we? It just sweetens up the room. So just remember to combine everything well. And I almost never add all of my powdered sugar at once. I always do it in batches. 1, because it makes it easier to combine. And 2, half of the time I usually end up using less than what I started out with. And the best way to know is to test it and taste it as you go. And I mean, come on, who doesn't want to lick the frosting? We all do, admit it. So all you have to do now is pipe the frosting onto your muffins, and there you have it.